Ladies and gentlemen, after much of some weather delays and some problems and all other sort of things, we're finally live, though. This is going to be between Cloud9 and Team oVo. I am, of course, joined by the always wonderful Jay How. How are you doing today, sir?
Doing pretty good, and I'm sure a little bit warmer than where you're at.
Yeah, well, you live in Florida and all that noise, so I'm sure that is the case. So sorry about the delayed broadcast here, guys. Sometimes there's things out of your control you can't handle, but we're just going to get right into it without further delay. Left side of your map, Cloud9. I'm sure a lot of them don't need introduction, but we're going to do so nonetheless. Arthalon on Li Ming, K1 Pro on Tassadar, iDream on Raynor, King Caffeine on Muradin, and Dunk Train on the Tyrande.
And on the right side for the red team, we are going to have oVo. That's going to be the Oculus on Johanna, Gelato on Lunara, Talaz on Falstad, Wilted on Rhaegar, and Trap Queen there going to be playing that Zeratul.
So this game is underway, and this is the qualifier, of course, for the North America Enter the Storm Cup $10,000 prize pool, as well as some peripherals from Rockcat. The Battleground Cursed Hollow, a very popular battleground that's been a while for a long time, Jay How. And it's the good old tribute spawn. You get yourself some tributes and you get yourself a Cursed K-Pro. You'll be able to get himself out of a little bit of trouble here.
Definitely a fan of these top-tier teams. They love Cursed Hollow, and kind of surprising. I know we got to take a look at the draft right before this started, but we are going to see Li Ming today. That's pretty exciting and kind of unexpected for me.
So taking a look at the level 1 talents, it looks like, of course, Rhaegar, despite his recent, a little bit of a nerf on him after his buff, we still see emphasis on the lightning shield there. The Zeratul getting the seasoned marksman, so his late game auto attack damage is going to be significant. And Lunara going with the, what is that talent there? I'm still trying to learn Lunara there. The Nature's Perspective, so basically giving a little vision, and it lasts for about 9 seconds. So whoever she auto attacks, they're going to see what's going on with them for quite a long time.
It's one of those things where the heroes, they get tagged and then they're managed to get out of range of everything, but they're going to stay lit up on that minimap, and you're going to be able to see where they're going. That allows your team to rotate over to hopefully get some of those ganks. I like that level 1 talent there on Lunara pretty much every time.
So these teams pretty much just staying in lane. Zeratul, the Trap Queen down in the bottom part, has been hanging out in this bush for a long time. And Cloud9, they know that they haven't seen Zeratul in a while. So both their solo laners, Raynor and Tassadar on the other side of the maps, are playing defensively because of that. So I think with no Zeratul being on the map, they probably know that he's waiting around here. And like, you know what? You can just sit there and do nothing. We're going to keep ourselves in a defensive posture. And it looks like finally Trap Queen is going to rotate to elsewhere on the map.
It was one of the things that we saw win the draft, and he does get kind of sniffed out. King Caffeine not able to get the vision, but they know exactly where he's at now. But we saw that, we actually saw Tassadar get picked after Zeratul was picked up, of course, with that Oracle trait. That is a hard counter, and it's such a wide radius. It's really hard for Zeratul to engage in those team fights. And, you know, I like the pickups there as supports, as level 4 is picked up there by Cloud9.
And we see the emphasis in that vision, as you were talking about, from K1 Pro. Picking up the mental acuity, making it a 20-second cooldown. I'm sure that's the S of Johan coming out for the Li Ming, one of the very strong talent that sucks people in. Focus attacks for Raynor, and the good old Thunderclap build coming out for King Caffeine's Muradin.
One of the things I think we're going to take a look at, as we do have a little bit of engagement here, Talaz taking some damage. The mark goes down. The Dwarf Toss coming in, and there is a dead Falstad. And I was just about to target Falstad, but we have more damage coming out. Arthalon getting slowed. That Nature's Toxin on there. He is going to survive, and we are going to see getting the best of the fight there. That's a dead Falstad, but one of the things that we just saw in the patch the other day was some changes to the hammering, and sure enough, at level 1, we are speccing into Gathering Storm. I've never seen this really at this high level, but with the recent changes, that's exactly what we're going to see.
So that first blood going Cloud9's way, obviously good momentum in their hands. Yeah, the Falstad build is a little bit unorthodox. Normally it's that seasoned marksman and whatnot. We'll see what he goes at level 7. That'll really help dictate what he's going to be continuing to build, obviously. Falstad did receive a damage increase on Hinterland's Blast, but I don't think we're going to be seeing that. The Mighty Gust is just such an effective tool, and it's so very good. Cloud9's draft, though, just taking while we have a little bit of a moment to talk about it. Actually, Arthalon's in a little bit of trouble. He gets envenomed up, and it looks like he actually is going to go down. So the first takedown for Team oVo right there, Jay-How.
The power of Lunara, once that toxin gets on you, she can use her W, slow you down, and it's really hard to escape that.
Anyways, but yeah, the burst damage potential coming out here from Cloud9 is absolutely massive. Between the Li Ming, the Tyrande, and King Caffeine, one Stormbolt on anyone, whether it's the Johanna, whether it's the Zeratul, or anyone, they're more than likely going to go down if the Ancestral Healing isn't on point, if the Cleanse isn't there, which I'm assuming is going to be the pickup here for Rhaegar at level 7 because there is so much crowd control coming out from Cloud9. iDream under a little bit of pressure here. He should be okay there. Level 7 picked up here for iDream. It is going to be the talent which gives him a good amount of damage mitigation, so a little bit more survivability, that fight or flight. So Raynor is going to be deceptively difficult to take down this match.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do see K1 Pro already getting on point there. Talaz flying in. I'm not sure if he's going to get the interrupt. The hammering just hits in time. It felt like Cloud9 had them zoned out very well. We do see diving in on this back end. Trap Queen getting a lot of damage in, but has to be very careful of the Li Ming as he starts to drop back here, Shane.
Oh man, Zeratul gets stunned up. The follow-up isn't there. The Lunara gets taken out. That's one of the weaknesses of Lunara. If you can exploit her health pool, she's very highly mobile, but the moment you can catch her out of position, she's easy to take down. That's exactly what happened. Oh man, the cleanse from Rhaegar on point right there, keeping the Oculus alive. If that cleanse wasn't there, more than like, oh no, the S of Johan on the fall stack goes down. Trap Queen's trading it out for Li Ming. So the Team oVo was able to pick up the tribute, but they gave up 2 takedowns for it. They find themselves down a 1-level deficit. And what this means, come the next tribute, more than likely, Cloud9's going to have her heroics, oVo won't, but it won't be disastrous for them because it won't net them a curse.
Yeah, we see Raynor in that bottom lane just continue to soak. Once that fight took its turn, he was able to go down there, and that's going to be a key element there. And so one of the things that we did see there, we saw that that Arcane Orb come out, and that's that S of Johan. It really makes those magic missiles hit that much easier, and it absolutely annihilated Fausta. That's why I'm really surprised that we're seeing Li Ming, especially in the hands of somebody on Cloud9, who you know is going to use it well, and already showing her value there.
And that's one of the great things about Enter the Storm is it's one of, I believe, the only really major tournament that Li Ming is given play into. So it's nice to be able to see her play in a competitive environment. And obviously, I think everyone knows that she's an incredibly strong hero. Her burst is incredibly high. Her mobility is very high. Down in the south part of the map, iDream's in a little bit of trouble, but the Zeratul brethren going off against each other. The heal's there to keep Trap Queen alive. If he doesn't have a blink, he might go down. Narrowly is going to be able to get away here.
We saw the totem come down. I thought that was a dead Zeratul, and that was just a nice heal that came in. The totem went down for the save, but it looks like another tribute being picked up by Cloud9, and right on cue, there's their level 10 as well.
Yep, but thankfully, if oVo didn't pick up that tribute before that one, this would be a very, very awkward position because they'd be cursed up. But thankfully, they were able to pick it up. And so that means this next tribute that spawns, they're going to be on even levels with both the heroics. And it's going to be a big exchange between these teams because Cloud9, they want to get that curse for themselves, but as well as oVo wants to deny them that curse. So really, it's just if Cloud9 can get a level 13 advantage, they'll more than likely be able to get it. But they're pretty far off of that right now. Thankfully, the experience mitigation has been hasn't been too favorable for Cloud9 thus far.
And hitting 10 right on time, and we do see this tribute spawning right by several members of Cloud9. We have a little bit of a party bush here between King Caffeine and Dunk Train, possibly looking for it. It's going to get sniffed out there. They got to be careful. King Caffeine coming in, Dwarf Toss out of there, and you can see the Oracle going up, trying to spot that Zeratul. Nicely done so far, and this is going to be the face-off that we're looking for, both teams with heroics here.
Yeah, iDream's a little bit late to the party here. He's got to get himself out of there. Oh, Johanna, a beautiful force wall being set up there. The Iron Skin's already popped. He's already down that really important combat trait. Lunar's had a lot of trouble. The Ancestral Healing being forced out early on in this team fight.
We do see the Hyperion coming up, zoning them out. Very low on damage, and there it was. There's the combo up at the top. Arthalon hitting once again with that Arcane Orb combination, followed up by Disintegrate, and that is the power of Li Ming. It wasn't even needed, but nice rotation there by Arthalon.
That takedown on a Falstad is going to secure the curse for Cloud9. On the back of this, they're more than likely not able to get the map control of taking on the structures, but more importantly, level 13 advantage. And with that advantage, we frequently see teams go for a boss, whether it be their own boss or an aggressive boss. And on this battleground, the flow of it is really dictated. Once we hit those mid-game talents and late-game talents, good Iron Skin by Johanna there. But once we do hit those level 13, level 16, level 20 talents, the bosses start to become the biggest contention points. The emphasis of the tributes are still there. They're still important, but those bosses are just almost the single most important win condition available to teams.
I'm not sure if you did see that, but Falling Sword was taken for Johanna. She had to use it for that escape. Bad timing there, but it was absolutely needed. And the other thing that we did see there, nicely done, that Master Warp Blade at level 4, Zeratul was on the hunt there for Li Ming. So as we were talking about, that if there was a counter, you're going to look at somebody like Zeratul. And so nicely defended there by oVo. And this tribute not necessarily paying the type of value you would think you would get here.
Yeah, it was actually a job well done by oVo to mitigate the curse very, very well. At the same time, though, Cloud9, instead of kind of dispersing themselves across the map and pushing mid lane, I mean, they push top lane very, very hard, but instead of falling back, they put pressure into the top lane. And due to the fact that Zeratul almost took down Li Ming and actually did a significant amount of damage, they didn't get the takedowns, but they at least thwarted off that pushing aggression from Cloud9. And so Cloud9 actually not getting as much out of the curse as they really wanted. Nonetheless, though, they still find themselves with a level 13 talent advantage. oVo themselves not too far after that. We do see Cloud9 starting to push down this mid lane a little bit, trying to pick up this fort. And with the top fort being taken out and this mid fort, if they can secure it, that's going to take away a lot of the vision of oVo, specifically the vision surrounding their own boss.
Shane, one of the things that I think I saw, and I wasn't sure if I was seeing it because I saw a lot of teleports, or at least blinking there during the attack. Shadow Assault being picked up by Zeratul,
exactly.
And look what Falstad went with. Hinterland Blast, quite surprising here.
Two very unorthodox heroics we haven't seen in a long time, but Hinterland's Blast received a big buff. Shadow Assault received a huge buff. Shorter cooldown, bigger length. It's something we haven't seen yet in competitive play. I think it was just a matter of time before we did, and it looks like they're just really trying to exploit Li Ming, especially with Arthalon. If you look what he picked up at level 13, we'll take a look at it right now. Is the glass cannon? So he literally is a glass cannon now with a very low HP pool, but does a lot of damage. So if that Zeratul can get in there unmitigated and follow up Hinterland's Blast, Arthalon is going to have to be very, very smart with his positioning, not to just get blown up early on in these engagements.
Both teams trading bosses. We have Raynor in that top lane. He kind of got a little bit of vision. He's up here continuing to soak. The forts are up in both the top and bottom lane, respective lanes there for the bosses.
Yeah.
But we do see the bottom fort with very low health there. A full level lead right now for Cloud9. I was curious if they were going to try and rotate this or go and defend, as we do have Raynor going down. I guess I missed that in that top lane. And nice assault there as Raynor goes down for Cloud9, basically changing the dynamic for the next 30 seconds.
Yeah, this is huge for them. If they want, they can push with the boss. It looks like a couple of them are falling back, though. Maybe they sense that Cloud9 was trying to do some backdoor shenanigans. That's not going to be the case, though. They're going to clean up the boss for themselves. And okay, now that makes sense. Now I see why they fell back. Because this boss does have a free avenue in the bottom lane to the inner structures, their tier 2 towers, and possibly the keep, they have to fall back and deal with this, else they're going to unnecessarily take a lot of structural damage. At the same time, their boss isn't as much of a threat. oVo's boss is not much of a threat because it just got a set of tier 1 towers, put a little bit pressure on a fort. At this stage of the game, forts aren't too impactful, but when you're at a talent deficit right now, level 14 to level 16, anything that will help you out is very, very helpful, is obviously very, very valuable. But nonetheless, without that level 16 talent online, I highly doubt that they're going to be able to contend over a tribute. They are only one tribute away from picking up a curse, Team oVo that is. So as they can hit level 16 before the next tribute, and fight in between that level 16 and level 20, pick up a curse, they could really bounce this back game into their favor here, Jay.
RNG on the side of oVo for that last tribute because it did spawn down on their side where they were already defending. So they are going to be able to sit out the next tribute, as you were talking about, and be able to safely get to 16 as Cloud9 is making a little bit of a push towards the middle. Yeah. They might be trying to take this level 16 advantage right here, be able to get down the front gate of this keep, and then hopefully if they can get the next tribute or the next curse, then they're going to be able to get their first keep, or they could get some type of assault here, being very aggressive with their approach with this camp coming at their back right now.
Another huge strength of Li Ming is her pushing ability. You saw it right there, especially when she has, at level 16, she picked up the extra 2 magic missiles. And it just does so much damage. You use the Arcane Orb with the magic missiles, and she can actually siege very effectively from a long range. It's incredibly hard to deal with without some sort of hard commitment in doing it. So right there, I think that was a big part of it. They pushed down those towers, and still no level 16 here from oVo, so they weren't able. They were trying to soak. You can tell with Zeratul up in the top lane, trying to get experience there, and obviously they were in the mid lane defending the push. They were trying to hit that level 16 before this next tribute, but not going to be able to. They're going to have to forfeit this tribute as well. So that means they're just a little bit further behind as far as momentum goes that they want. If Cloud9 successfully defends this next tribute, takes a decisive team fight around it, before it, or during it, they are going to be in prime position to hit those level 20 Storm tier talents. This next tribute is really going to dictate how what place Team oVo is going to be in between that level 16 to level 20 time period.
That level 16 advantage rolling right over, and that is the power of Li Ming that you were talking about. They are completely annihilating these towers on the front line with the siege camps. It's almost like they didn't need it. They already have Li Ming, but now you can see the tribute spawning clear on the other side of the map. Both these teams going to have to drop back. Got to be careful here, as we do have a couple members kind of split up on Cloud9. Zeratul kind of flanking this other side with Trap Queen. He's got to make sure not to get sniffed out. There's K1 Pro. Do we have an Oracle yet? I know it was used just a minute ago.
Yep.
Falstad flying in already, but King Caffeine there to defend. We are about to have our fight.
So what happened there, that exchange in the bottom lane, Zeratul was trying to set up for a flank, but the Oracle from the Tassadar spotted out, and that's why they kind of fell back on the push. They thought maybe they could pick up a takedown on the Zeratul. Weren't able to. Trap Queen was able to get himself out of there, and right now, like I said, this is a very tense moment for both of those teams. If Cloud9 can take a decisive victory here, that's more than likely going to put them in a prime position to be ahead. Level 20 Storm tier talent, they can fall back to mercenary camps and almost put themselves in a position where they can just outright win the game. Falling Sword goes down, not much follow-up to it.
We did see the magic missiles. Out comes Hinterland Blast, exactly what you were talking about, Shane. There goes Li Ming. That is why they chose it. There is no Mighty Gust. Li Ming, obviously, with that glass cannon at level 13. That just instantly turned the fight, but Dunk Train on this back line. Can they get the interrupt? Nice stun there. Nice force wall out by Cloud9. As you can see, not able to interrupt that, not able to get their first curse, as we did see Zeratul go down right around the same time, but that Hinterland Blast just changing the dynamic of
Huge
that
amount
fight.
of damage. Massive amount of damage. And when you pick up a talent like Glass Cannon, things like that are bound to happen. I see what Team oVo is trying to do here with the Falling Sword, the Hinterlands Blast. It's kind of the old sort of Tyrael Judgment Hinterlands Blast. A little bit more reliable, though. Obviously, Falling Sword, you can change your distance and whatnot, and it did receive a significant buff because it's only a minute cooldown, and obviously it doesn't suffer from that speed decrease that it did before. But we saw effective that's the first time they finally lined it up where they got the initiation in the back line, they got the Hinterlands Blast, but unfortunately they did lose one team member themselves, so they weren't able to completely take the tribute. And this tribute right here is going to be a curse for either one of these teams, and without a decisive team fight over that last tribute, this may be a big deal, but actually, looks what's happening here. oVo going, you know what, we'll deal with the curse. But they're picking up the boss instead. Cloud9 knows exactly what's going on. This is going to be very close. If oVo can pick this up, it'll be great for them, but if Cloud9 can contend, it'll be huge.
oVo is getting this boss, but what are they going to do here with this curse? They're not going to be able to push with it. I like the call here. The force wall goes out, singling out the members, though, but not able to follow up on it. Wilted takes quite a bit of damage, rotating over here on the right side. Johanna using the Condemn, the Shadow Stalk coming out. The stun's trying to go down. The cleanse comes out. The Ancestral Healing landing just in time, but Talus does get taken down. Shane, Falling Sword coming in.
This is looking great for Cloud9. Falstad just got absolutely destroyed. The strength of Li Ming showing it right there. With the Zeratul being taken down, Theoculus is about to go down. K1's Pro secures the takedown right there. We're going to see Cloud9 make a big push here in the bottom lane. They obviously did get that last tribute. They got the curse. The boss is not much of a threat right now because it is, I mean, this bottom lane 4, if these structures were cleared, the boss maybe would have forced a response from Cloud9 to fall back and have to defend, but they're not. And that's why in the early game, if you can get pushing going, it's huge. oVo wasn't able to do so, and we see that it's really starting to bite them because they just don't have that push going down the bottom lane, which would force the hand of Cloud9. And yeah, they're going for the game here. I think they're more than likely to be able to get it, especially if taking down Rhaegar.
Shields are down 68% going on the court. Down goes Lunara. This game is going a huge turn of events. They made the risky play going for that boss. Li Ming goes down, but there's going to be too much damage coming out here. Trap Queen goes down there. This is a best of one. Cloud9. Well, hold on just 1 second as Hinterland Blast says, I at least want one more kill before I go. But GG's going out, and Cloud9 taking this game decisively there at the end in that last team fight, Shane. That was a thing of beauty to watch.
It was. I see what oVo was trying to do there. They obviously were trying to exploit the low health pool of the Li Ming, but Cloud9 were able to. The Li Ming did get absolutely destroyed that one time. But the Shadow Assault really didn't have as much impact as we were expecting. The Falling Sword and the Hinterlands Blast only really landed one time. They attempted it maybe a total of 3 or 4. So a little bit of some execution problems from oVo. If they maybe were able to execute that combination with the Falling Sword and Hinterlands Blast, it would have yielded a little bit better results. But not the case. Cloud9 is going to move on, guys. This is best of one. So, of course, I'm Shane Goucher. My co-caster is Jay Howe. I once again apologize about the delay, guys, but some things you can't really help. We're going to cut to a small break, continue to go down the bracket. Stay tuned, guys. Don't go anywhere. In the meantime, on this short break, make sure you check out the sponsor, Rockhat, as well as Gosu Gamers, putting on this great tournament. $10,000 prize pool, peripherals on the board as well, and just a huge deal for these teams. All right, guys, we're going to cut it to a break. We'll be back here in just a minute. Stay tuned.